Coming to you from Freedom Land Studios in Texas. This is the Chuck and Z Show. And now, here's Chuck and Z.
What up, everybody? Welcome to the Chuck and Z Show. Of course, I'm Chuck.
And I'm Z.
And tonight, we have some special guests in the studio. It's safe to say they have traveled the farthest from their home base to be, well, I don't think they came here specifically to be in the studio, but that's what I'm going to tell everyone.
Is that what you're going to say?
That's what I'm going to tell everyone. Are you ready?
Yeah. So we have Bethany and Josh from the UK, and we met them online, and then we actually hung out with them in Sturgis last year, so that was really fun. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to have the 3 cams tonight. So since I'm producing, it's going to be mostly you guys on there. So you're not going to see my pretty face. You're just going to have to listen to the dulcet tones.
I'm dulcet, Beth's Essex. So.
You like that?
Producer Chuck, what happened to your camera?
It's all good. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks, appreciate it. I was saying to Josh on the way here, it's cool to come and be on your podcast now because, of course, that's how we met, wasn't it?
That is, yeah.
The podcast. So I was like, it's done a full circle.
It has. Yeah,
to
that was
actually
fun.
be here in the United States, like with you guys in person. It's awesome.
Yeah, we did the podcast. How long ago was it? Like 3 years? 2 or 3 years
Yeah,
ago?
but I think, about 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Time goes so fast.
It does. And I remember it was like 5 o'clock my time and maybe 9 p.m. your time or something like that, 10 p.m.
I think it's 6-hour difference from where you were living at the time. So it was all like the weird time zones and trying to sort it all out. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's cool to be here.
Yeah, it is. Live and in person.
Yeah.
So what brings you to Texas?
To see you guys and, everyone from the Sturgis rally and everything. And we, of course, love the States. So we want to travel as much of it as we can. But now having people to actually come and visit is obviously amazing. So it's really cool to go to some foreign lands and actually know people and be able to hang out and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait till we get to over the pond to see you guys because actually Chuck wants to do that for his 50th birthday is to go to, to Europe and do some riding there and check out the scenery there.
Yeah, for sure.
The dream.
So different to America, of course, but I'm sure you'll love it, and especially from where you're saying you were from, it's more mountainous and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of beautiful mountain passes in Europe.
Oh yeah,
like Switzerland and everything.
Right. I was just thinking about the Swiss Alps and and even in Italy because that goes up to Switzerland too, right?
Yes, that's right.
Pretty much, it's like just a big line of mountains and everything. You could get from one country over the mountain in one way. It's connected to like near enough everything. Isn't it?
Yeah, it starts like the north of it is Germany, and then you go down, and so it's also part of France, and it crosses over into Italy, Switzerland, and Austria.
Oh wow!
So it really is spread out. It's massive.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah, since I was little, when you grow up like in certain spots, and I'm sure it's the same for everybody, right? Like you'll see places on TV or in movies, and until you actually go there, they don't seem like real places. They seem kind of like fantasy spots, right? Mm-hmm. So like with New York, I remember the first time I went to New York, I was like, oh my God, like this place is actually real, right? Yeah. So there's so many places overseas that I want to go. I it's crazy. Like London's always been one of those places I want to kind of go for like a day or two.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Right?
That's all you need.
Just a day or two. Say I've been to London, right?
Yeah.
Got treated miserably or whatever. That's what I keep hearing. Is that you don't get treated very well in London.
It rained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of why I don't go to our Seattle here is known for rain. And it's like every time I've ever had the opportunity to go to Seattle, I was like, nah, I'm good. But yeah, so I want to do that for sure for my 50th. I want to go rent motorcycles and just hit as many countries as I can.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be good. You guys, I'm sure you'll love it, but it's going to be so different for you. Like harder. It's easier for us to be used to the smaller roads and all the sharper bends and stuff, and then come to America, everything's so much bigger. You've just got, so much room to move. But once you guys come over to Europe, everything shrinks.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Yeah.
And the roads get worse.
Yeah.
so worse. Yeah.
The people. The people as well.
I'm sure stop. What?
I mean, I'm not trying to be mean to us Americans, but we are portly. We're
Oh.
What do you mean?
like we got some extra that we carry around on the rag, right? We eat quite a bit more than we should.
Portion sizes are bigger. That's what we could
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
We're a little out of shape, I would say, on average. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, that's true. Especially in the South.
Yeah.
Like in California, from what I've seen and like when I've been out there, it's like they're very health conscious. A lot of people there work out. They, you see them running on the beaches and working out, and things like that. But in the South, everything's fried.
Everything.
And then the large portions on top of that. So you're getting, so many calories that you're intaking on a regular basis. When we first moved to Texas, I think I gained like 5
immediately.
to 8 pounds, like within the first 2 weeks. I'm like,
Immediately.
what is going on? I can't stop eating, but everything's so good, right?
Right, you sure?
And then slowly but surely you start to like, okay,
Okay, I
can't
got
do
it.
that.
I got it. Grab it.
I guess
Get a hold of
it's
it.
similar to us. Like the more Midlands and up north you go, there's a lot of fried stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
The Midlands and up there are known for like battered Mars bars. Do you get Mars
Oh,
bars?
yeah.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they deep fry a Mars bar.
Yeah.
That's like staple dinner.
Wow.
Fish and chips and a battered Mars bar.
Right.
So they do that kind of stuff around here, but it's usually like at fairs.
Yeah, like a state fair.
Like a state fair, you'll go in and they'll have the most crazy stuff fried. Fried Pepsi.
What?
How do you? I've never,
Like what?
I've never had it.
How do you fry Pepsi?
No, for real. They had fried Pepsi.
Like in the can? I don't understand. I'm trying to.
No,
Too
no.
hot to hold.
I don't know how they did it. I have no idea how they did it.
You
But
just eat it like it's a dessert,
But I know
Yeah.
if you pour like Coke or Pepsi into
a batter, like
In-
in
it'll
the-
kind of like
caramel,
congeal.
Yeah, so unless
Yeah.
it goes to like that, and then they batter it, so it's like
It doesn't
that's-
sound
it
good.
sounds rank.
That does not sound good at all. I've had a fried Oreo, which is amazing because it's the batter on the Oreo and then it's like all gooey and stuff.
Oh yeah, it sounds nice.
Snicker bar,
Yeah, I've done that.
you know,
Nice.
but not Pepsi. Mm-mm.
There's time.
Nope.
Yeah, I grew up pretty much everything was fried. From the time I was little, fried chicken, fried pork chops, fried okra, fried, you name it, country fried steak, fried chicken. Does that make any sense? That's a real thing. Chicken fried chicken.
What is that like? Fried twice?
It's like chicken fried in chicken grease, which I don't know how that's a different thing, but I think it is.
So nice they named it twice.
Right. That's right.
So what is it normal for households to have their own like actual fryer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that a normal thing?
Yeah. I would say so.
Yep.
Yep. Like a
My-
small fryer. We have a small fryer here.
Yeah, we have a fryer. My mother would mostly have a kind of a deep saucepan that she would put. So like if she was frying chicken, it would be maybe like, 2 inches deep and about half of it would be full with oil and she would flip it and fry it that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's how she did pork chops and chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of people have gone more towards the like the air fried stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
You know,
That's what we do
That's
a lot of that.
popular now.
It's a lot more healthy, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Like to have an actual like proper fryer though, that's not. My family have never
That's
had
not common.
anything like that. No.
Really?
I never. I actually don't think I've ever seen my mum fry anything in like deep oil.
Oil. Okay.
It's not a normal thing.
So what would be a typical, I just got home from school. Hello, Mum. What's for dinner? Right?
Chuck a packet of turkey dinosaurs in there for your mum. Chicken dippers.
Crisp sandwich.
So you
Like
get home.
chicken nuggets that shaped like dinosaurs.
What-
Okay.
You get like dinosaur ham.
I'm feeling you.
With baked beans. Baked beans on the
That's
side
rather
and everything.
American.
Yeah, your turkey dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, as in my head as a kid, even if I had like when I was younger, I used to go to like primary school. I'd go to like a what do they call it? I was gonna say a caretaker, childminder. So I'd go there so my mum and dad can finish work and pick me up. So every time, from what I can remember, me and my brother would go there after school, and it would just literally be like chicken nuggets, turkey dinosaurs, some chips, and a bit of Hey Arnold on the TV.
Yeah.
Where's the veggies at?
Yeah, I don't know.
No
Yeah.
veggies.
No, we weren't.
Like
weren't
maybe
interested.
actually no, you'd get those you know those
Like
little
carrot
like
sticks or
mini
something?
carrot, yeah,
Yeah.
they look like little fingers.
Right.
Like 4 of them. That's probably like.
We grew up different.
So
So-
what was on your?
So what was yours like?
Always home cooked dinners, really.
Okay.
Always vegetables, and I did grow up eating meat, so it'd always be some kind of meat, veg, and of course you would have times of having what we'd call an oven dinner, which is just putting something out the freezer, put it in the oven,
Yeah.
like pizza and chips and whatever,
Yeah.
or fries. Sorry, you don't call them chips,
I knew what you're
so
talking
everyone knows.
about. True.
Yeah.
You talking about French fries?
Yeah.
It's a very American thing
You mean
that
French?
we call French fries.
That we call them French fries.
Yeah.
Were they originally French?
They've
Is that,
got. They've
knows?
They've got to be.
It must be.
Doesn't make sense.
it does not make sense, does it?
Because if they're like
Otherwise.
a fry and you had different fries, and then French started making the thin ones, and then you've adopted that. Then
Yeah.
Because you have potato wedges.
True.
I don't know what it means.
Universally known as a potato wedge, whereas a French fry is a skinnier chip. So
Yeah.
I feel like that must have been there.
When I went to Europe when I was younger, and I went to Belgium, the Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
Belgium and the Netherlands, Amsterdam, and it was the frites that they have that you can buy. Have you been there before?
Yeah.
Like the little cone with all the fries inside and the dip on the side. That was like so good. But it's different because they're fat. They're like steak. We call those size fries
Right.
steak fries here.
So that is that's like a proper chip to us. Like that's what we'd call like a chippy chip. Literally.
I love a chippy chip.
They're chippy.
It's the sort of chip you get when you go to the fish and chip shop and whatever. It's like it's the fat version.
Yes.
That is like a proper
Yeah,
chippy
this
chip.
is my favorite kind.
Yeah, they're good.
Steak fries here, guys.
So along those lines, speaking of everything being fried, whenever I was young, I used to do in the summers. I'd go work with my dad building houses, and in the mornings we get up very early, and then we would go to the gas station nearest to the house to pick up what we were going to eat for lunch. And I always wanted these potato wedges, and when I tell you they're like a quarter of the potato, right? Like they're like big, and then they're battered and deep fried,
Dang.
and they were delicious. I loved them. I know. So that's what I grew up eating,
That's
stuff
smart.
like that. And then I'm supposed to be like, as an adult, be happy with, vegetables and normal stuff. My palate's just messed up from the time I'm young.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? I always feel like with food, and it's almost like you wish you never had the taste of like junk food.
Like cereal.
Yeah, just all that, because as soon as you have the sugar, it's addictive and you
It
want
is.
it again. It's very hard to get out of the routine.
Absolutely. Yep. My thing with like sweets is like gummies. I love gummy bears, gummy worms, like anything like that is like my go-to. It used to be chocolate, but then I just kind of grew out of that. I don't know what. And then Chuck's is chocolate, M&Ms, peanut M&Ms, like things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You throw peanut butter and chocolate together, I'm in.
We actually had the other day Reese's.
oh yeah,
they're
peanut
called
butter cup.
cups.
Yeah.
Obviously vegan ones.
Mhm.
And I had them, was like, oh, that was good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Blast to the past. But I was just saying, I definitely, as a kid, would be like, and sweets, but chocolate was obviously
Mhm.
what I would definitely go for. Whereas now I am sweets fanatic.
You are.
I love a packet of sweets.
Yeah. It is addictive for sure. It's a drug,
Yeah.
you know?
Can you guys eat cheesecake?
Yeah, if it's vegan.
Yeah,
All
dairy
right.
free
So
version.
cheesecake, ice cream, all just vegan, dairy-free versions of it. Okay.
Yeah, you can get absolutely everything
Yeah. Okay. We went to this place the other night called Earl's Restaurant and Bar, and we had this. It was caramelized cheesecake.
It was a caramelized vanilla cheesecake
Oh my god!
with like
Sounds
the whipped cream and the berries.
Nice.
Nice.
And that's my problem. It's so good. How do you not eat it?
See, my favorite used to be creme brulee.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's obviously just like the sugar,
Yeah.
on top, just burnt. That was my absolute favorite. But I've never found a decent like non-dairy one.
Donuts are big around here. What would you call them where you guys are from? Donuts?
Donuts.
Donuts? Okay. Yeah, there's one place around here that does like these craft donuts, and they brought them in the other day, and they had a creme brulee donut. So the outside of the donut was done like creme brulee.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, that's another thing we noticed actually is like America seems to like love donuts a
Yes.
lot more
Yes.
than in the UK because
Yeah.
you get like ginormous stores just for donuts.
Yeah.
Like that's mental.
I know. You
Talking
go.
about like Dunkin' and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we get
We
like
get small versions.
Krispy Kreme, Dunkin', obviously
That's it.
places like Starbucks and stuff will do donuts, but not your like kind of thing. Whereas back home, maybe in London, you might have a Krispy Kreme store. But mostly, it's like if you go into any sort of grocery store or supermarket, there'll just be like a little cabinet of Krispy Kremes. There's
Yeah.
no like specific, like if you're on the street, there's a big donut shop.
Yeah.
Unless you're on like maybe the seafront, someone, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's that popular.
Do they have like the hot light in the UK? Or if you see that the hot sign on, you know they're hot and warm and fresh.
Oh really? No.
Yeah.
Oh my
Like
God.
here, they have specifically like at different times of the day, the hot sign will be on, so you'll know. Okay, they're just made. They're fresh. They're warm. Go get some.
So that'd be the same for us. Like, not obviously the sign, but we've got a place called Greg's, and that's like a bakery and all does like. It's Greg's is known for its sausage rolls. That's like
Okay.
pinnacle of its like, existence. They do everything else, but Greg's is a sausage roll.
Yeah.
And as a kid, like going in there, you'd obviously get like fresh baked sausage rolls, and if they were like slightly cold, they'd warm them up or wait. Whereas now, because of some health rule, they can't like reheat. So if you go in there, you're like, obviously I'll have a sausage roll. They give it to you, and you're like, bruv, that's like that's like 2-day-old cold. Like,
Bro, it's
and
hard.
you're like, can you warm it up? We're not allowed. I'm like, it's just not the same.
No.
It's the same as like when I used to work for my old man, like doing plumbing. There was a bakery on the strip that we used to do with all the housing blocks, and their bakers would do like jam donuts. And if they've like fresh come out, the jam's still like warm, and it's that's just like the best. Everything that's like slightly warm just tastes better.
It does.
As soon as it's like cold, it's not got the same touch.
Yeah. Agreed.
True.
So what have you guys gotten into since you've been in Texas?
Oh my gosh. What was the bike place we went to?
Strokers?
Strokers.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. Well,
Yeah.
it was quiet, like I was saying to you earlier.
On Saturday, yeah.
But in a way, kind of good to see it in that sense that you can actually see the whole place. Like,
That's true.
wasn't lots of people in the way or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was cool to go there and see that. We want to go back in the day, don't we? So we
Yeah,
can have a look
yeah.
inside.
One of the guys there, I think his name Taz, owns like the detailing part. You know, they got all the little bits around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And when we walked into the bar, he was like, "Oh, like obviously anywhere we go, people are just like, you're not from around here." Like,
Yeah.
how do you know?
Just by looking at you.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't even say anything. Just walk in the bar, and then people just like look. And like,
Yeah.
Why?
it's like in the head, it's like you're not
Oh.
familiar. Like, and then obviously, I guess
I don't understand. Why?
we're approachable people.
Yeah, I mean,
I know, right?
We look normal.
yeah,
Standard,
totally normal to me.
But it's yeah, he gave us a little tour around the place, and then he was on saying, "Oh yeah, you got to come back here like during the day, so you can actually go in the shop and check out
Yeah,
the
and
bikes."
see all the
and
bikes.
They do the bike nights and stuff, so plan to go back down there. But I say we just got the truck now, so it's easier to actually get around. Whereas before, like just Uber into one place, and then you're like, "Oh, I want to go check out this place," another Uber to that place, and it's
Yeah, it's a
not as
headache.
easy. So we'll probably do more this week, I reckon.
Good.
That's
Yeah.
I think we've done strokers, done a bit of boot shopping.
Oh yeah. Got my
Gotta
new
be done.
boots.
You got
Bit
your new
goofing.
boot goofing? What boots did you get?
Just some black boots.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Were
know.
there a specific brand or?
No, I just went in a shop and I just tried a load on, and didn't actually have full intention of even getting any. I just saw them and I was like,
Those are the ones.
they're the one.
Yeah.
They were calling my name.
I still have to get mine. I haven't I haven't gotten them yet.
No
I'm just
way.
like,
Me too.
been so busy with work and other stuff. So, but it was fun seeing you guys at the tattoo event the other day.
Yeah.
That was fun at Black and Gold.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun time.
Yeah.
Judging the tattoos. I was really surprised at how many people really wanted to win worst tattoo.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I thought my job was to, I mean, they signed up for worst tattoo,
Yeah.
right? So my assumption was, oh, I'm supposed to roast these tattoos. Right?
Like,
So
yeah,
as they're
that's
supposed,
terrible.
I'm like, yeah, it's horrific. What were you thinking? Right? Anyways,
That's my mum's face.
well, you lost twice.
Why does your
Both
mom look
because
like
that's-
a gorilla with her tongue out? I don't know. What is that?
Yeah, it's like
It is a gorilla.
It is a gorilla.
Oh,
What is your
I don't think he meant that.
He wasn't. I was joking back around it.
Yeah, this ghost looks like my mum actually.
But the guy beside us, Spartacus, who's a very well known tattoo artist, he was like encouraging, and so I started to feel bad because I was like roasting him. I was like, oh yeah, that was ugly. I think I told one girl that lost twice line. I think I told her she lost 3 times.
Yeah, because she lost the ugliest.
Yeah, because she got the original tattoo, which was terrible, and then she got a cover up, which is horrific, and then she entered a contest to show off how horrific it was and lost.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's 3 losses.
He's like, you lost 3 times.
So I'm like giving her a hard time, and he's like, but you know what? You can cover that up.
You can fix it.
He might have also been angling for work.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Come on,
Might have been a little.
come see me. I'll fix that.
You
for
got to respect the hustle.
That is kind of what he said a couple of times. I can take care of that.
I really wish we took a picture of the guy who won worst tattoo, and we could
I don't.
put up on the screen to show people.
Oh, worst tattoo.
Yeah, because you guys saw it.
Yeah, soon I got it straight away.
It was.
You did? You knew what it was right away?
Of course you
I mean,
did.
obviously I know Z had said what it was, but as soon as he come over and said to Beth I've been told to come and see you or show you my tattoo. So me and Beth were like, right, okay. And he was like, it's the worst one. We're like, no, get it out. He's like lifted his sleeve up, and then straight away, obviously I had in my head Z being like, oh, it's all this squiggle. Couldn't understand what it was. As soon as he lifted up, I was like, I can see what it is, and it is awful. But I get what it was straight away, but obviously it was proper faded and blown out.
Right.
The dragon part was easy. In my eyes, I could see it straight
You could
away.
see
but
it.
what it was on, I can see why that threw it off, because that one a ball. I was expecting some sort of Dragon Ball Z sort of thing, and it was
Yeah.
there was some weirdness going on.
It was
with that.
some vortex,
Yeah.
really spiraled out.
I do wish we had a picture of it. I bet there's one on the web. Didn't they take? They did. They had a photographer there taking
Yeah.
pictures of it. It should be on Black and Gold's website.
Maybe.
Maybe, probably not by now. Or it might be on their social media. Might want to check their Instagram.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
but
but-
if we find it, we'll post it so you guys
What-
can see it. But it was terrible.
What messed me up about it, once he told me what it was and how to look at it, I think the guy was maybe laying sideways when he had it done or something, because the dragon's facing downward,
Yeah.
blowing downward
Yeah,
fire.
back. It's going around blowing down the back of his arm.
Right? So instead of it being like this, the guy was like, "Oh, the only way you can get that on there is if you turn it this way." And then, you see what I'm saying?
No.
Yeah, should have just gone the other arm.
Instead
I
of
know.
It should have
Yeah.
never happened.
It never
Yeah.
should have happened.
now,
But if-
just a pro tip: you're not gonna get a successful dragon tattoo for $100,
$20. It
right?
looked like a $25
And you're
tattoo.
definitely not gonna get one in a hotel room or you doing it. I mean, I'm sure there's some amazing dude, right? Let's leave the exceptions out. You at home right now, you're not gonna do your own tattoo or get one for $100. If you want a dragon tattoo, go spend the money.
Yeah.
You know.
And then the people that were up for the different categories, right? So we had a black and white, a color, and then a large. There were people that entered 3 times
Yeah.
every category.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And then having to see them 3 times in a row. Sometimes they had full body tattoos, so we had guys pulling down their pants so that we could see their butts, and it's like, oh my god, put that away.
The one dude shook it at us.
Yeah,
yeah.
it jiggled.
Why?
Gave it
was
a
like-
bit extra.
Please don't stir anything up, bro. Just keep. I don't want.
I think it was that guy. I saw him come over to you. It must have been like the last time or something. And he enter 3 times?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I saw one of the times he came over to you guys, and he was just like, he just sort of went like, yeah, he's just done this weird like, you know what it looks like.
You know what it looks like.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
yeah,
like,
we don't want to see it
you're
again.
Yeah, I don't want to see it again.
Quite a few times.
The art was great.
Right.
Canvas was rough.
It was very good.
But there were some really good tattoos. I was actually super impressed with a lot of the people that entered, because it wasn't like they just came on their own, and they had some good art.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
One of them had full sleeves like you all, and had stories. Like, I like the meaning behind them. The people that actually had meaning behind their tattoos. Like, this one guy had the one with he was a firefighter, so he had the life and death, the face, the red and black one that
Oh, cool.
we were kind of debating
Yes, yeah.
what
Which one?
you
had
know
the
which
best
one
colour,
had the
yeah.
best color, and a cool angel on top, and it was just really cool to hear the stories. You know, their families, like they had different symbolisms for who their family was and the members in their family and stuff like that. So
What's the symbology behind that?
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, so that was fun.
Are
So-
you getting more tattoos?
Me,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, always. But I'm kind of like at that point where I do want to have like something like meaning behind it, right?
Yeah.
This arm is going to be my moto arm, where I put different things, maybe different places I visit and go ride and different stuff like that. And then this arm, I did want to get a little bit more detailed, but also just like with my job and things too, I don't really can't do like full sleeves.
Right.
And if I could, if I wanted to, but I want to be able to like not be hot in the summertime.
Yeah. Would you have to cover it all up?
Yeah.
I just feel like I need to,
Really?
just because we're dealing with a lot of, CEOs and
I would say that's something that I don't personally feel like I have to.
yeah.
I don't have tattoos that I feel would be offensive.
Right.
I know how you feel about it, and I'm not saying that that's not valid. I just personally, I kind of go, I have tattoos.
I am who I am.
Why would any of this take away from my qualifications to do my job? It hasn't ever.
It's yeah. It's not that. It's just working in a professional environment. It's always that stigma behind it,
Yeah.
and that really it mostly has gone away.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still some companies that would turn
I think people are judgmental. Well,
Yeah.
people are judgmental, and I feel like more so older generation would
Yes.
instantly judge. So I feel like most CEOs in my head are going to be older people. So walking into a room, they take one look and instantly have prejudge on how we are or who we are, or might instantly be like, don't want to do business with that person.
The reality is our jobs are sales, and so we have to be appealing to the most people we possibly can be when we're out selling. If 2% of the people we run into would disqualify us because they don't like tattoos, some would argue that's probably not business you want. Who knows? But the reality is I'm not in a position in my job where I'm building markets to turn my nose up to anything. So I have to try to be as presentable as I can. That's why mine, as it stands now, go down to my cuffs. Like when I'm at work, you usually don't know. Now, if I'm not going out in front of clients, I'll wear a polo in the office. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe because you're a man as well, it could be a bit more lenient.
Are you trying to say men and women are treated differently?
Yeah.
Yeah, still.
We don't need to get too much.
Still, Chuck.
But especially in that more corporate world, like I've never worked in a job like that to really know, but I could imagine even like when we're out and about, just walking around, when you feel the eyes on you, it does sometimes make you feel a bit like people are looking, whereas obviously like I feel like it is just different for a man. It's a bit more accepting.
Yeah.
Like guys can be heavily tattooed and it's not an issue.
True.
But to be a woman, it's like, wow, why have you done that or whatever?
Yeah. I think I still feel so when I first started in the corporate world, I only had this music note bar around my arm, right? That's the only tattoo I had. And I got it when I was 17. I was into music. I was a singer, and I think I saw some other artists with it. I was like, I want to do something cool with like music notes on my arm. So I got that. And then one day I was wearing like a tank top with sleeveless, nice shirt to work. And literally my VP came in. It was a Friday, so it was casual Friday. I had the tank top on with some jeans. It was cute outfit, but literally the next Monday we had a dress code enforcement rollout.
Really?
It was basically no visible tattoos, no jeans. Like,
What?
I was like, okay, they did that because of me. And so I've always felt kind of weird, but I'm not with that company anymore. And when I met Chuck, like he always wanted to get full sleeves. He always wanted to get tattoos, and also wanted to get more. We had that in common. And we were working with the same company. And as soon as he started I was like, go for it, babe. As soon as he started his sleeves, like the higher up started to like turn their noses down on it. And that just kind of didn't sit well with me. So, but moving on, fast forward 15 years later, we're hiring people with visible tattoos on their arms, just like small things. And it's just a different time now. And I think that the more we accept it for ourselves, I think we make other people accept it, right?
Yeah.
So just slowly introducing it into the corporate world.
And so many people have them now. That's the thing. Like, it will come a point where it's like, well, you're going to have to hire people with tattoos.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no one to hire.
I know.
It's more unusual not to have them now.
Exactly. Yeah. It's funny because that actually, on a different subject, we were talking to a client the other day, and they basically were just saying, like, we were submitting candidates to them, and they were saying, I don't want anybody with a degree because people with degrees, they just don't last here in this job, right? Because it's more of a general labor warehouse type role. And they felt that, they would move on to bigger and better things. And I'm just like, all right, well, these are the people that meet the qualifications of the job. People without degrees. On the flip side, a lot of people without degrees, not to say that all people without degrees have gone down the wrong path, but those are the candidates that we're getting. They probably have something on their background or something like that. So I'm like, which is it? Do you want people without degrees that can possibly not be able to work because of this particular thing on their background, or do you want someone that actually is willing to go to work for what you're wanting, that will put in the work? And I mean, nothing lasts forever, so you can't just be that picky. It's so crazy. Yeah. Some of the mentality that goes around with employment in general. It's kind of weird.
I feel like that just with like everything in life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how people have such a straight mind on, well, this means this. It's like, well, open your mind. Like, anything's possible for anyone. Like, you don't have to be so black and white with it. I just don't get that mind at all.
Are you talking? Are you talking more folks that would be considered intellectuals, or are you talking about the general populace?
Both, to be honest. I mean, it probably comes down from the higher sources, and then people hear things, and then they're like, oh yeah, and then maybe they think that way too. Like the younger generations, I think, are changing everything for good and bad in some ways as well, but for generally accepting more and being like, hey, if that's that, then that's cool, and people are being less judgmental. Like, I think that's definitely a good thing.
I think that's the general progress of society. You think about the roaring 20s, how they pushed back on the 10s, and then the 30s were a little bit, hey, that's a little too far, right? And then the 40s kind of were like, oh, we're going to get a little wild again. 50s came along, a little too far. 60s went nuts. 70s were a little crazy. 80s came back and was the most conservative decade in the history of the world in the United States. Totally pushed back on everything that came out of the 60s and 70s. As a matter of fact, the common line was, hey, hippies, you lost, right?
Really?
It was seen as a cultural war for the country, right? I personally think that's about the time when certain institutions within our government started actually running our government. That's what I think happened around that time. So, but I'll digress from that. But then you got, the 80s were like that. And then the 90s started getting a little wild. And then it just slowed down a little bit. But now with technology, it's gone much, much quicker. So like that ebb and flow of what's acceptable and what's not is escalating.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're experiencing. You'll see one group go, oh, we went this far. Let's see if we can go this far. Oh, nope. Yeah, jump back.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I've even seen it in what the other thing that we all have in common, which is that we all ride motorcycles. When Zahara started riding, it was still a little like not rare, but it was still, oh, there's a female rider riding with us today or whatever. But now it's why sometimes when I see things online about, it's not, people talk about how it's a male dominated thing. I don't really see that influence anymore. I haven't met a male rider that would be opposed. The ones that have a problem with female riders, I always refer to them as piss pirates. They're old men who are just terrified of change. Just terrified of, what I was doing was special. If she can do it, how special is it? Right? Because they see their macho thing as a weird way when it's really not about that. It's about a human's expression with this machine.
I don't actually, I've not come across any weirdness with
Right.
a man being like, you're a woman, you shouldn't ride. Nothing like that at all.
Yep.
But
That's good.
In the US, it's so much more popular amongst women, and especially the Harley world. Whereas in Europe, it is still a minority. You get more older women riding,
Wow.
but the younger generation, it's not really there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the roads, the weather, it's a combination of everything.
Yeah. The risk.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
And just the want to go out there and do it under those conditions. You have to want to do it a lot more, Whereas in America, it's made for it, and it's different. But it's awesome to see. That's why we're so drawn to America as well, because it's this is what we're here for. And being, in the slightly younger generation getting into motorcycles,
Yeah.
it's unusual to be young and ride, especially Harleys in the UK.
Wow.
Yeah. I always say that we should shift perspective on how we look at things sometimes, just to try to see it from a different way. And when it comes to the female writers kind of phenomenon, in my opinion, I think that it used to be more along the lines of what I was talking about earlier, about it being this thing where it's special or it's different for a female to ride. I think that we should accept that that's kind of somewhat true, right? When you look at motorcycles historically, it's mostly not necessarily been, in my opinion, male dominated, as in men are keeping women out of riding. Women have not been attracted to riding on the same level as men have. So now that that's escalating, I'm not saying you understand it. You just kind of should expect it. That now that it does feel like, oh wait, all of a sudden now it used to be something me and the boys did, and now it's something that me and the boys and it's different. And so there's a little bit of resistance to that. I understand that. I don't understand the whole aggressive attacking that I saw when she first started riding, that seems to have dissipated over the last couple of 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was referring to, because she did experience that. There, especially in the online world, not necessarily. I would say that there were people that weren't necessarily friendly to Zahara when she first started riding, but I was there as
my government name.
to Z,
Every time you say that, I'm like,
He's like, who is she
Who's
talking
that?
about?
to Z when she first started riding. But those same people also were very welcoming to me. So I don't think it was because they were just jerks who, we were new riders and they are new riders to their group and whatever.
Sure.
So that's the kind of the point that I was making, because I think it's been a really quick shift, because it did kind of go from people making memes of Zahara online to everybody's embracing it, including Harley Corporation itself, who's really leaning into
female
riders.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
true.
I mean, I guess it's the beauty of the online world in the respect of it's almost like a movement. When you see more women on there doing it, it gives you the thought of, oh, I could do that if I wanted to. And even with riding the baggers and stuff like that, I've never rode a bagger myself, but to see someone like you online, Z, to ride your bagger, it's so inspiring to me and so many people. I know that, and it really does make you think, hey, if you want to do that, you can. I think that's
totally.
why more women do it.
Yeah.
and why more of maybe the older generations or whoever it was that wasn't cool about it before, they're like, oh, well, fair play. I mean, you can't say anything about that.
It's, yeah, I get that. It's, you know, what's crazy is when I talk to people whose like grandmother rode motorcycles back in 1942 or whatever, you know, and it's like, that's something that they did on a regular basis. And we're talking to Jake, you know, Jake, and he was saying, you know, yeah, and just think about it, how motorcycles back then, they weren't like really made to where they would last, you know, 10,000 miles. So you had to be adept at working on your own motorcycle as a rider. Right. So they probably had all the, you know, the skills to change the oil, fix things while they were on the road. And I follow this rider who's been riding, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 years, if that long. And she lives in California, and she's been through, I think she's probably late 50s, early 60s. So she has been riding a long time. And just to see the different stages of her riding career and her, you know, and she works on her own bikes, and she does all of her, and I met her in Sturgis last year when we went. She happened to be in Sturgis, and met up with her and said hi. And it was just really cool to see this, you know, icon, right, in my mind, because she's been riding probably longer than I've been alive. And and she posts all her pictures from back in the day, like in the 70s, you know, in the 80s and the 90s, and she was hanging out with her friends riding. That's so cool. Just to see how many women were involved in motorcycles back then, but probably didn't get the attention and the credit.
So I wanted to respond to Tiffany real quick. She said that it's definitely worse online still. Now, I fail at this a lot, Tiffany, but I really do try to follow Dave Chappelle's advice when it comes to like Twitter and X, when he said it's not a real place.
Yeah.
Online is not a real place. You have no idea who's on the other side of that comment. They proved that, just to give you an example, that I think something like 90% of the Christian groups on Facebook were started by Russian troll farms.
Troll farms, nice.
And it's 100% true. Feel free to Google it or DuckDuckGo it, whatever you do. But it's 100% true. They would literally get on Facebook, create these Christian groups, and then make them fight. They would schedule a Christian rally across the street from a Muslim rally.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, just in general.
It's not a real place.
Right, right.
These people are people who attack people online.
They're boring.
Sometimes they're funny and fun to mess with them, but they're not. They don't see you, and that's not them. This is they see whatever they think they know you, but they don't see you.
Yeah, and they're hiding behind a private profile.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, it's always a private profile.
Yeah, and I guess that's why they call it, it's like that keyboard warrior, isn't it? You can be as badass as you want behind.
There's no consequence.
As soon as you're in front of
right.
someone,
There's you know, a lot of people like to talk about the physical consequence, right? But whenever I do interviews, we've had to do a lot of remote interviews, and I hate them. I absolutely hate remote interviews. Whenever we get online with someone on here and we're talking to someone, we can kind of get through what we're doing. But when I'm talking to someone and I'm trying to hire them for a job, I do not like doing remote interviews on any level, because there's no consequence to there's an emotional exchange when you're in the presence of someone else. So at least the way I see the world, right? So whenever you're not only, there's no consequences physically for you to attack someone, you don't actually have to be there to see how it hurt them. You don't have to be there to see how they reacted to that. You don't have any of that emotional back and forth that goes when two people are in conflict. Yeah. It doesn't exist. It's windshield mentality.
Even to have the balls to say something
to
someone in person, like if you really feel that strongly and you're with someone in person, to be like, hey, I don't think you should be riding that motorbike. Like, you're a bad rider. Like, has anyone actually come up and said that to you?
No, not that I can remember.
They'd get slapped, wouldn't they? That's why.
No one would say that to you. But I'll be honest. I fall victim to this on a small scale. right? Because I have windshield mentality at one point in my life, and it's typically when I'm behind the wheel of a vehicle, not necessarily motorcycles, but when I'm behind the wheel of a car. Like, cut me off in traffic, and I will call you every name I can think of. I mean, I'll call your mom stuff. I'll go in, right? And then, but why? If someone accidentally bumped into me when I'm walking, I would never do that. The reason is two reasons. One, my lizard brain's in control because I'm traveling at 90 miles an hour and I'm not built to do that. So my brain's like, what is going on the whole time, right? So it's active and looking for threats constantly.
That's true.
And then someone gets in your way and your brain computes extreme danger because of the speed you're going. And so you react immediately. It's not, you don't mean any of that, but that's the reaction you get. Now, where some people I consider who are not quite as evolved as other people don't know how to catch that. They don't know how to catch that lizard brain, and they chase that guy down and try to get out of their car and start a fight. Those people are unevolved. Never slow down for them.
Yeah, that's what.
Because no matter what happens, it's not a good day. Just roll.
There's a good series on Netflix, isn't there, called Beef?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And that's how the program starts. He's pulling out of a parking spot, and the car comes. They like both slam on the brakes, and there's a beep, and there's like a pause, and then he says something. She drives off, and then flips him off as she pulls away. Then that's it. He chases.
That's right.
That's how it starts. It's a really good program, but it's literally that. Like you should never stop if someone starts doing that.
Oh no! Is it like a documentary or
No,
is
it's
it like a
just
show?
a drama show.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually quite funny. Like obviously the story evolves massively, but that first part is about like him and this other person. They just don't have that chill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's how like they as a person outside of the cage.
for sure.
Is how
Yeah.
there's still that person.
I just think some people aren't as evolved as others, and I know this is a very ugly thing to say, but like, you know how sometimes your dog can't help but bark? No matter what you do, it's gonna bark, right?
Yeah.
Nothing's threatening you. Nothing's happening. It was just a weird noise in the corner, and you're gonna bark for the next 30 minutes. It can't help it. There's an instinct in it that goes, bark, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what some of those people are like.
Yeah, sure.
A tick.
Yeah, yeah. It
Oh,
always is, isn't it?
tattoos on a woman? What?
Yeah.
I must react.
Well, in a positive way, that's what we get when we last time we was in Vegas.
Yeah.
Walking down the street, people like they're obviously in their own little world, aren't they? Everyone's got their own things and their own thoughts going on in their head, and they're walking down the street, and as soon as they glance over and they see Beth and I, and then their brain obviously like computes what they're looking at because they've just looked at some random person every day as they're walking by. As soon as they see me and Beth, you can just see like Beth's just in her own bubble all the time.
Yeah.
Like anytime we go out anywhere, I think it's like a man.
She's oblivious.
I'm everything.
Tunnel vision.
I'm surveying everything. Where's a good way to dash if we need to go? Or exits, you know what I mean? Exit here and here.
Do we need to devote some time to this trauma?
But it's like in my head, I'm always just like, it's my job to look out for it. So
Absolutely.
these people, I'm always looking at people walking towards me. And it's so funny when you see someone who's just going about their day, they look over, and like you said, it's just their reaction like a dog to bark is them just being like, God damn, like out loud. And then obviously Beth's like, what? And I'm just like, oh, the guy just obviously noticed your tattoos and just verbally reacted. And then
That's
they're like,
crazy.
shit.
Holy shit.
And then obviously I always turn around and they're like,
Yeah.
like their brain's still going, or they're doing
Yeah.
the classic, like,
Yeah.
it's still going.
I don't,
Yeah.
Is it? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't know if it's just Beth because like I'm not oblivious. I'm just intentionally just like in my own zone, getting to where I need to go because I know for a fact that people are looking at me, right? And you know that people
Exactly
are looking
why I
at
do
you,
it. Mhm.
and you don't want to like give them that go ahead to like make eye contact and then to
Yeah,
like
engage.
engage in it.
Yes.
So for a lot of times, Chuck will be the same way. He was like, laugh. He was just like, and I'm like, what are you laughing at? He's like, that guy just like turned around, and was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
and I'm just
Damn near
like,
tripped over himself.
and I'm like,
That always cracks me up.
But that's exactly why I do it, Z. I've developed the tunnel vision because I know people are going to be looking, and I don't want to have to make eye contact with everyone I bloody walk past.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like I've just got this tunnel vision thing, and especially when I'm with Josh, I can allow myself
yes,
to do that because I know I'm with him and I feel safe.
right,
Whereas when I'm on my own, it almost gives me a headache sometimes
Yeah.
because I'm trying to be tunnel vision, but I know I have to.
You also have to have
more,
situational awareness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. I just, I'm at ease when I'm just with Josh.
It's like
Well,
I can just be
simple
in my own
things.
world and it's fine.
Yeah.
We was in like Trader Joe's the other day, and like obviously me and Beth are usually just joined at the hip wherever we go. Like, the odd time I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go down here whilst you do that, and then next minute she come in. Can you come outside with me to look at these plants? I was like, why? Like just pick. Stuff like that. I'm just like, it's a plant. Just get it.
Just get the plant.
She was like, yeah, but there's
Just get the
there's
plant.
a guy out there who just wants to talk to me. And I was like, okay.
All right, I'll be out
So
there.
like, I literally just walk out, and the guy like sees her, goes there, and then obviously it's just me there, and he's just like, cool tattoos, and then just goes about his day, just sitting there and doesn't bother engaging. So it's like, I get it. I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm like an intimidating
No.
person, but
You should have been like, no, guy, what
Like,
did you want to ask us?
then I can't be asked to hear his life story. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
True.
you know, I was gonna get a tattoo one day, and I just think.
You're like,
Cool
yeah, I don't want to hear
story.
your story.
Cool story, bro.
Cool story, bro.
I think most of the time, like say if we're walking, like someone will look at Beth, and then if they have in their head, oh, I want to like go and say something. For me now, because I got the face tattoos, or if my head's shaven, I've obviously got the head tats and everything.
Yeah.
Most people tend to look at Beth, look at me, and then just keep going.
Yeah.
And for me, like I said, I know I'm not like this big macho intimidating person, but like you said, that prejudge of someone looks at me as a character and just goes, that fucker's got his face tattooed. Like,
Right. He's
and
hardcore.
then it's just like, I don't trust that guy.
Yeah.
Something's not right.
He's a little
up there.
suspect.
And
Might be a lot more involved in this than I thought.
when you've got the sunglasses on as well, so people can't see your eyes.
Mm.
And if you can't see someone's eyes, that makes you feel a bit more like you don't know, obviously, what they're looking at, whatever.
Yeah.
So he's got the old crazy eyes under there. So they're like,
Beating, right?
I wonder if his eyes are tattooed.
does he have eyes?
right.
Well, you know, as your friend who's also tatted, you know, when I first met you, I had to, you know, every now and then just kind of take it all in, right? Because it's your friend. I want to see the work, and I'm going to be around you a lot, right? So if you caught me, it's because I definitely was like, oh my God, I can't see the back of her arm. I have to see the back. I have to see the back. I gotta take it. All right, I want to do it again. All right, I'm
It's
good.
different with friends. 'cause
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
I'm just like whatever, but like yeah, just random people.
I know
it's
what you're
like,
saying. I'm just teasing.
You're looking too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a limit, right?
Yeah.
So, like, for instance, there's a polite,
Yeah.
right? Oh, I'm not on camera, am I? Damn.
No. Dang.
Damn.
He said polite.
And then there's that meat version.
And then there's a. Yeah.
And then like for 10 minutes, let you walk away.
Well, they just kind of stand there and just watch you walk off into the distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that was always crazy for Z and I was the gym. When we would go to the gym, I mean, when we were at New Life, it was just, or LA Fitness, excuse me, it was just meatheads, wall-to-wall meatheads. Very few females actually worked out there, so it was just a constant, just people breaking their necks the whole time she'd walk through the gym. You know, I'd be on cardio doing this and going 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6. It's just dudes doing this.
And I'm like,
And she's oblivious.
and he's like, did you see all this? Like, no, I'm working out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, I'm not at the gym. I'm super like, I don't engage. I don't want to talk to you. I just want to get my workout on and hour and done.
The other thing too is I'm confrontational.
You
and,
are.
and you're not.
No.
So like, if I was working out, even if it was a female that I caught looking at me, I would be like, "What? Can you give me some privacy? What are you doing?" I would.
know.
100% would.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't purposely say something to someone.
Mm-hmm.
People do look, of course, but it's like you say, it's if someone tries to engage in conversation, I'm like, I'm in the middle of a goddamn set. Stop
Right.
trying to talk to me. Like, my headphones are in. I've had people do it, and I can see their mouth doing this, and I'm like, I can't hear you, and I just carry on like, don't talk to me right
Right.
now. What are you doing?
Yeah. If they do engage with me, I'm super like short and
Yeah.
mean
Yeah.
to where they don't want to talk to me again. They're like, all right, damn.
You know,
She
that's-
was mean.
You don't have to set up a meet and greet for every time you work out. You're like, I have a booth at the front in about 40 minutes.
Drop your name card.
right. Schedule a time. Damn. Yeah, it's funny. I think that's just me in general. Like, I'm not confrontational, like he says, and I get super uncomfortable with confrontation sometimes, to where, like, if people are arguing in front of me, like, and especially if I like those people and they're my friends, I'm like, oh my God, can you guys just stop? Like, inside, I'm just crawling, like, just wanting it to stop.
Sure.
But one time when I was traveling for work, it's probably around like 7-8 years ago, I was traveling by myself. So I would go to like different branches and train salespeople and branch recruiters and things like that. And so the company that I was working for had 32 branches in like 10 different states. So every week I was gone Monday through Friday. I would only come home on the weekends, and I was in a different state every week. And one time I had to go to Memphis, Tennessee. Have you ever been to Memphis?
No.
It's a really cool town. I mean, that's where Elvis grew up.
Sure.
Born and raised. There's Graceland there. There's like a lot of different, and there's like I forget the name of the street that's in Memphis that you can walk.
Beale Street.
Beale Street. That's very popular. It's kind of like Bourbon Street in New Orleans. I mean, or the Strip in Vegas, right? Just like everything's on that street. And I was leaving from work in the morning to go to fill up the car that I was renting and head back to the airport. And it was 5 a.m. in the morning. It was dark. It was in the wintertime. I'm filling up my car, and this guy comes up to me, this big guy in like a bubble jacket, just coming up to me at the gas pump. And I'm like, what is this guy doing? Like, I'm getting like kind of nervous. I didn't have my gun on me or anything.
I'm ready just to douse him.
Yeah, I was like, let me take the gas out and like, but he comes up to me and asks me for some money. It's a homeless guy.
Right.
And I'm like, first of all, I was like super annoyed and irritated that he came up to me when there was a guy who was pumping gas over here that he could have asked, or any other of the people. But he came up to me and I'm like, why are you coming up to me?
Yeah.
You see I'm a woman. Like, you can go ahead and ask that guy for some money. Like, I got like super defensive. It just came out of nowhere. And I'm like, why did I just do that? But that was like me being scared and not wanting to like.
My
confronted
favorite.
about.
Okay, so my favorite. You were scared of something, and don't get me wrong. In retrospect, I get why it scared you. Okay, but at the time, I was like, she comes running in the door. This guy is following me.
Oh yeah.
I was like, what? She's like, this guy literally, he was coming down the road out there. He followed me as I turned in here. He slowly turned on our same street. He stopped right there. And I was like, I'm following a package that's being delivered to me.
But I was just pissed.
Right?
Because
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
Right? So this guy's literally following her and I know there's a guy coming up, but she doesn't know. So she gets out of her car and he gets out and starts walking up.
no, he asked me, he's like, do you live here? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like,
my
are you freaking kidding me? Are you asking me if I live here? Like, I was like, I should have, in my mind, I was like, why did I stop at home? Why didn't I just keep driving and like drive around the block or something? Because he's delivering a package in a bag, like a grocery bag.
He gets out
Like, I'm supposed to know that that's a
carrying
package.
a grocery bag.
And he's like, yeah, do you live here? And I was like, why? He's like, I'm looking for a Charles. And I was like, oh, that's my husband. Yeah. He's like, well, I can give this to you. And I was like, thanks. I thought you were following me. He's like,
He
no.
was following me. He's
Say
like-
it to him.
So that's what she
I told him.
says.
I was like, I thought you were following me. He's like, no, I was just delivering a package.
But when she comes through the
Doing my
door,
job, lady.
but when she comes through the door, that's not what she says. She says, this guy followed me all the way there. He's right there. And I was like, following this. So I was like, it can't be the same
No,
guy,
I called
right?
you. I called you as I was pulling in. Remember, that's what I said. And then I got out and I was mad. I was like, this guy's following me.
Brilliant.
I was so mad because I was like, he was following me all the way from like 2 miles behind me. Like,
I mean, fair play for noticing him, though.
girl, you got to have that situational awareness.
Yeah, that's why she don't drive like in these places. I'm just the whole time aware.
Hey.
Beth just zones.
Has that been odd driving here?
Not really.
No.
No. Like I said
Easy.
earlier, I focus more on driving here than I do back home because obviously it's second nature back home. Whereas here, I'm just making sure I don't kind of swerve into the middle.
Yeah.
I've always wondered why it was different,
I know.
right?
Why
Why are we on this side and why are we on the standard and you're on the metric? Is Americans just that?
Yeah, but Europe's the same, isn't it?
Yeah, the
So
rest of Europe.
It's literally, as far as I'm aware, it's like the UK and maybe some other places.
Well, Canada.
Do they? Oh,
Canada is on the metric.
Oh, is it?
They don't drive. I don't think they drive on the other side, but they're on the metric. I think the U.S. is the only country in the world on a standard measuring.
Because a lot of people say to us, "Oh, like you do kilometers." I'm like, "No, we do miles."
Yeah.
It's like Europe does, like all like going across the border. They do kilometers. So I feel like we've just got a bit of a weird.
You guys do miles?
Yeah, we're miles
we're
per hour.
miles.
Oh,
Oh, are you?
okay.
So everyone's like, "Oh yeah, what's that in kilometers?" And I'm like, "No, we do."
Don't know.
The only thing that's different is when people are like, "Oh, it's 100 degrees," and I'm like, "The fuck is that?"
Yeah.
It's like 20 odd or 30.
Celsius,
or whatever, yeah.
isn't it?
So that's right. That's the only time that like anytime someone says anything here,
Or pounds,
different.
like you guys do,
obviously,
like
yeah, like pound sterling,
stone.
stone.
Isn't that what you
dealing
say?
stones, do we?
No, isn't that weight?
See,
On
right.
weight.
It's because you said like pound. I
Oh,
thought
money.
Yeah, you said
See,
pound.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's a difference.
Yeah, they still have rocks.
Yeah,
They still have rocks over there.
look-
That's why we left. Like they keep wanting to use these rocks. This is a better
so
system
yeah,
of money.
We do, kg. Like if it comes to weight, people would weigh in kg. So a lot of people here are like, "What's that in like in pound
Right.
or whatever?"
Yeah.
So that's the only other thing that gets calculated, like in a gym situation on weight, is when people say like pounds to
So
kg.
I know you guys got to shoot some guns.
We did. We did. That is a lifelong goal of mine, and it
Yeah.
came true in
So
Texas.
how did it feel?
As good as I thought it would.
Yeah.
You're
I've held a gun before. I used to do like a live action role play for like a zombie company, and the guns they used there were like pretty good replicas, and
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they were supposed to be airsoft guns. So they tried to replicate as good as possible, and they were loud. But obviously, then when we come here, well, Vegas originally, the first time we did the whole trip when we met you guys for the first time. When we got to Vegas, I said I want to shoot some guns in Vegas because I thought that's like a good place to go.
Yeah.
Never happened, and then again Vegas, I was like, oh, I really want to shoot some guns again. Looked at it and was like, it's just a bit too like expensive for.
Yeah.
Like I want to do it for a time. I don't just want to go and shoot like 30 bullets and pay $100 for it.
Yeah.
You're about right.
It was. I looked on like some of the Vegas like different spots, and I was just like, Thailand did it, and one of the places near us that was like mega cheap. You could do anything. Didn't exist anymore, so I was like, oh, okay, probably a reason why that happened.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then, finally get here. We was planning to meet
It was
up.
probably the whole do anything part.
Yeah,
You're like, we have laws,
They
y'all.
literally had like this massive banner that was
It-
literally just like. Just do
We
it.
have laws.
And then we come here, supposed to meet Jake and Lauren, and then Lo messaged B and said, Jake said like if you've got time and you want to, like we can go to the farm and shoot some guns, and I was like, I'm there. Like,
Yeah.
I can do it.
Even better.
Yeah. So it was a really good experience. Like Jake was really good, like explaining obviously like gun safety, and obviously in my head I know like even if you're in a range seeing videos, I know if you're talking or never like turn around like with a gun in your hand and stuff. So stuff like that, I was already kind of a situational awareness of it, but like the way he was explaining the safeties on different guns and like how to load it, how to cock it, and just all this sort of stuff. I was like really like in my element. And then again, when it comes to shooting, he picked us up and said, we need to go pick up some more like
Targets?
ear
Ear.
plugs because we didn't have enough to like go for everyone. I was like, like how loud is it? I didn't realize. I know obviously in again videos and stuff I see people wearing,
You have
but
to.
I'm like, but is that just because, or like is there actually need for it? And then when we got there and he was explaining it all, so there you go. I went, you just shoot it one time so I can hear it in person before, because otherwise I'm going to be a bit like cautious to pull that trigger. Done the first shot and I was like, shit, that was actually pretty loud. I was like, okay, cool. And then give it to me, like first few times was a little bit like squeezing the trigger, and I was like, oh, I can feel it now. And then after that I was a lot better. Same as like the pistols, like it's that videos of seeing people shoot and smack them in the face and stuff.
Yeah.
So I get the first time on that I was a bit like, oh, it's actually not that bad. And then off
Yeah.
you go. So it's good fun. I'd go and do it again
Yeah.
any day. I can see why all of y'all get your guns out here. But it was an experience, and it was really good fun to do it with like friends and then get a good. It was about 2 hours we were out there, I think.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was, yeah.
And
So
then,
you get shot now?
Yeah, I'd say good.
Yeah.
I was looking at the targets we had. Like there was maybe like there was one almost borderline like direct headshot,
Nice.
and then most of our shots were pretty much just for the jugular. Not, I wouldn't say intentional. I was intentionally trying to shoot to the head or to the body, but then obviously when I got the card back, I looked at it and was like, most of them were just straight for the neck. So I was
You're
like,
just taking
still
them out.
pretty decent shot.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
It was still pretty decent, but yeah. But like I said, it was good fun. And I got Beth to shoot one of the what was it, AR?
Yeah.
Nice.
Said to Beth, I was like, we did one laying down, and I was like, it's nowhere near as like powerful to the
Jerky.
shoulder. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Beth had to go with that, but yeah, it was so fun.
Fun.
Yeah, it's
Did you like it, Beth?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I preferred the pistols.
Yes.
Because you can sort of just enjoy that, just standing there, and that was.
You can
Whereas-
Yankee clip it sideways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be a gangster.
I have-
laying down. Yeah,
yeah.
it's different.
I have a, obviously I have the Glock, but when we went shooting one time, I tried different pistols, and I really like a revolver, like the mechanical feel of the
Yeah.
revolver.
Yeah, that's
you
cool.
know?
Yeah, for sure. I like the look of those ones.
Yeah,
Like,
and they are
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah, they
badass
look
looking
cool.
too.
But I was surprised at how much adrenaline it gave me doing it as well. I was like, wasn't really worried to do it, but it was as soon as I was like, oh shit, I've got a gun in my hand right now. Like this could kill someone.
Absolutely.
And I was like, Jesus Christ! Like it really brought it to light for me of like how crazy it is to have a weapon like that, and
Yeah.
the fact that everyone out here, just especially in Texas,
A
I
lot of
know
people
obviously
do.
you can walk around with them and whatnot. And I just thought, wow, it's
Yeah.
pretty wild actually.
Yeah, back in Georgia, you had to get a permit to conceal it. You could walk around with it open. That wasn't a big deal, but to conceal it, you had to have a permit. I think they recently changed that in Georgia, but I was talking to a cop one time because we were actually doing a zombie ride where a lot of people dressed up like zombies, and we rode our motorcycles, and then some of us dressed up like tactical team, like we were behind the zombies,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah, that's fun.
And so we were trying to find fake guns or whatever. And I was like, well, I'll just strap my gun on my back. So I asked a cop, I was like, hey, if I go riding through the middle of Atlanta with an AR-15 strapped to my back, like a real one, am I going to get in trouble? And he's like, nope, we're not even allowed to stop you and ask you about it.
Really?
It's like, okay,
Wow.
cool.
Yeah. But this was probably like, I don't know, 10 years ago. So we don't
Yep.
know.
I mean, I think the laws actually got more loose
They got
because it
loose.
used to be the thought process was in order for you to be hiding a gun when you're in public and other people wouldn't be aware, you needed a permit for that.
Right.
But if you were to walk around with a gun out in the open and everybody knows you have one,
Yeah.
then it's not, it's known.
Yeah.
It's the Wild West,
Yeah.
right?
I think that's what when we first got to Vegas. I think it was Vegas. We was in one of the grocery stores, and like I said, the guy walked past, and straight away I was like, oh, I forget people just have like guns on them.
Oh yeah.
That was the first, I know Americans have guns either hidden or whatever, but that was just the first time being here, and just
Yeah.
that realization of, oh yeah, you're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
You're not you're not in London anymore.
Yeah.
So,
So-
w-
Yeah.
so obviously seeing guns everywhere is probably a little, oh wow, that's different. What are some other things like that? You guys have been here a few times now. What are some of the things that kind of still stick out as very American?
Guns are definitely
Guns,
like
yeah.
the main one, because you just do not see that unless you're in an airport or like you have armed response. It's the only time I would see a gun in the street. I'd never see one that is on a civilian as such.
The other
unless
thing I'd
farmers
say
and
is
stuff.
like you trucks you guys have out here.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
That's
That
always
makes sense.
Even yesterday we got in Trey's truck, and it's like getting up in that thing. I'm like, this is wild. Like,
Yeah.
you just don't get those really big ones. We have trucks, but they're just the smaller version. Everything's like the smaller version. So it's just the scout of everything here. And when you see the roads that just go straight for as long as you can see,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't see that anywhere else. Only like
I feel like America adopts, from what I've seen, they adopt that like grid system. So like when we was in Upland in LA, we come out of our house, and I could, as far as my eye could see, is a road that just goes all the way up, and then obviously everything's coming
Yeah.
off. In the UK, you'd probably get like few yards, and then the road will veer off somewhere or it turns off that way. So you're never looking at a road that looks like a runway. So I'm like, for me, like that's like that vastness of looking and thinking, shit, that's like, that's one hell of a long road. And it really hit us when we done the Sturgis run from Milwaukee. As soon as we got from there and just hit that, was it I-90?
Yeah.
And I was like,
And it's went for
we've
years.
been on this same road for 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like pull off, stay in the little like motel thing, get back on. Where are we going today? Up
I-90. We
same
know where
road.
we're going.
Like, and then I was just
Easy.
like, then after a while, at first you're like, yeah, it's amazing. Like American roads are great. And then like day 4, you're like,
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. You're right
I
though.
was like,
You're right. When it comes to those long roads that just go on for days and you just want to get to where you're going to,
yeah.
it's not as fun anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, let me just get there,
Yeah,
and then you get
for
bored.
sure.
yeah.
It's literally like that SpongeBob meme, you know, it's like 4
4
days
hours.
later. It's like, yeah, at the start, we're like, woo, America, riding Harley Davidsons in America. And then just like, 4 days later, like,
Or it'd be like what
Oh, we
was
there,
in like 2 weeks later, then it cuts to us going through that the desert part of Vegas to LA. That hit us hard.
Yeah.
I mean, after like having that whole week in Sturgis, the riding to and from,
Oh,
as soon as we
yeah.
got to that point, that's when the heat ramped up, and by then we're done from the trip. Like,
True.
it was good. Went to did the salt flats, and that was like when we was looking at it, it was saying like it's kind of one way in, one way out, unless you loop all the way around. So I said
Yeah.
to Beth, we either go in and go out, or we decide to do that other loop and try and match back on. But I don't know what's up that way.
Right.
So I feel safer just to go the way in, and then just write that day off and maybe
Turn
do a
around.
couple of hours and then stay, rather than trying to clear 6-7 hour days.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just going out there and just being like, this is taking forever.
Yeah.
I was like, are we there? I was like, this is the salt flat, but I was like, it's not the place you go.
Right.
And then like you
Yeah.
finally get there, and I was like, okay, cool. We're here, spend a bit of time, and then I'm like, I've got to do the same journey back. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a bit long. It's just like, I just kind of want to
I get it.
hurry. And then I started like lying to Beth about the times, like when we were like knackered, and Beth was like, how long's left? I'm looking, but like 2.5 hours. I'm like,
45 minutes.
hour?
Yeah.
Hour?
It was a long 45 minutes.
You said 45 minutes, like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. That was Chuck on the ride yesterday. We went with Jake. It was funny. It was just because it was like hot. You saw my pants. Like,
Yeah, oh yeah. So
oh my God.
Yes.
Soaked. I've never in Georgia, like it gets hot like that. And I think I probably, but never that amount of just moisture. And it was funny. But on the way home, he was like, how long has it been? I'm like, it's only been like 20 minutes. He was like, oh my God, I feel like it's been like an hour. We're just wanting to get back.
Yeah.
Moto Photo Dad said, "What up, friends?"
Yo,
Hey.
Hey,
Bush Boy
Raymond.
TV.
Oh, yeah. What was it he called you?
Bush Boy.
Oh, yeah. Bush boy. That was funny.
That's funny.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So Chats and Pony.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So where did that come from?
Do you know Paddy the Baddy, UFC fighter?
Yeah.
So he's got a podcast as well called Chatting Pony. So
Okay.
it's like just old phrases, isn't it? How people say
Yeah.
stuff.
Is that an old phrase? Chat.
Yeah, like
That's common.
Some of you would say like shooting shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Same thing. So like for
Okay.
us, it's like Chats and Pony.
You guys' like phrases like that sound so much more like just fun, you know, like shooting the shit. That sounds kind of like crass, right? But we're chatting pony.
It's more colorful.
Yeah, but that's your depiction of a British person. Like, let's chat some pony. where it's like chat pony.
A cup of tea.
But I get in my head. I mean, I haven't searched where these come from, but like I just feel like anything that's old, like English slang or like the Cockney side of things,
Yeah.
must come from like back in the day when people are dealing ponies or like horses and stuff.
Yeah,
And it's like, you know,
for sure.
let's chat some business. Let's chat some pony. I'm about to sell you this thing. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like
Okay,
how
that makes
I think
sense.
Yeah.
That
things
makes sense.
evolve, and then you got like the funny Cockney rhyming slang is like the whole like bees and honey for money,
Mm-hmm.
apple and pears for stairs. It's just whatever rhymes is kind of like what you go for something
And you
like
just end up
Yeah.
making words up. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
thing British people do that
Yeah.
when we come to different places, it's when we realise how much we just talk a load of crap, to be honest. Like we talk in rhyme and we know exactly what we're on about, but other people are like, what are you saying? And we're like, what? Why don't they understand us? And then we realise,
Well, like, we're both speaking
we've
English.
just like made that up.
Yeah.
But I get like that's why people say there is like American English,
Yeah.
and then there's like
Yeah.
British English.
That's
Yeah,
kind of what I
very
was thinking. Like as you were saying that, it's like we just kind of like, all right, cut to the shit, cut to it.
Yeah.
Just the facts.
Yeah.
What ponies? You know what I mean? Like that. I just feel like that's kind of how Americans are. Have you heard anything said here yet that you're like, what did that mean?
No,
No?
it's just that the phrases I only ever pick up as well. Like none of you I've ever heard any of you say you. That doesn't seem to like
Oh,
be
yeah.
a phrase.
But
all
no, it's
y'all.
use. Yeah,
Or-
it's
yeah,
y'all.
No,
but
you've
we'd
heard
say
me
use.
say you.
But
Where are you
I
going?
rarely use y'all. Like
Oh,
I
really?
just started in Texas.
oh, maybe it's because I hear it so much
Okay.
right now. That's like
Yeah.
I rarely hear
See how offended she
normal
got?
people. Yeah, I say you.
Yeah, she's got a weird hang up about it. Like I think she thinks that if she ever says y'all, it's gonna be the death of all of her vocabulary. She gets upset, like she does. Like she's I've never said y'all.
But no, I think like stuff like that. Certain phrases that I think that Americans
true.
use. But it's for us. It's so. I think there's just a diverse, random bunch of words that when we say it makes total sense. Like you said to anyone in the UK, even with accents, like here, I guess in America, you can travel so far and people still pretty much sound the same. You can go like an hour or so outside of London, and the accent changes, or go a couple of hours and go up to like Birmingham, Manchester, and then it's completely different. And they'll have their own slang or words with their accent that to me and Beth, I'd be a bit like, I have to listen to depict like how things are pronounced. Whereas for me, I'm born like down the south of England, so I'm in like a area called Dorset, which is kind of like known for that more country kind of vibe. And I think we had this conversation at dinner about the Hot Fuzz
Yeah.
Yeah.
clip in the movie where the farmer mumbles stuff to Simon Pegg, and he's like, I don't get that. Asks the next guy, and he kind of like translates it a little bit to a bit more mumble. Still didn't get it. What did he say? And then it kind
Yeah.
of like goes along. Like for me, I hear the old man, I'm like, that's perfect.
Yeah.
He's speaking English. Like, but
Yeah.
most people just don't get it.
I don't know if it's like we have. I mean, there were definitely older men in the country that you would have to. What did you say? Right? The super country guys, but it wasn't like a region. I think the only thing that I could think of around here that was in America like that would be like Cajun.
Yeah, I mean that would be mumble. No, but like some places in the south, or yeah, obviously Louisiana's in the south. So yeah, like a Cajun accent, Creole accent, like it's really you probably wouldn't be able to hear. Have you seen The Green Mile?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, do you remember the Cajun guy that's
not-
in it, the French guy?
Nah.
No.
The one that had the rat that got stomped. Oh, spoiler alert.
Anyway, one of the guys in prison, he was French Cajun from Louisiana,
Right.
and it was just like he just had like a kind of like
Oh,
accent.
right, yeah.
So
But he
it's
was
almost
speaking
like
English.
Yeah.
It's basically almost like French mixed with like super country.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like in Georgia, some places you go like deep South Georgia, you won't be able to understand them.
We have a video of
West
this one time
Virginia.
We ran into some people like that. We'll have to show it to you later.
I feel
Yeah.
like in my head, I feel like because the areas that I am from, that I feel like the accents, and maybe not like similar, but like because of the way they say words, I feel like when I hear country American or like these other like probably Louisiana places, I
You
feel
can
like I
understand it?
understand it.
You
because I feel
probably
like
do.
it's that lost translation. Whereas like,
Yeah.
we were just watching a series, True Blood. It's obviously very old,
Yeah.
but one of my favorites. So I got Beth onto it, and in there, that's Louisiana. They do it in Bon Tom.
Yeah.
But some of the people speaking that, and I was like, fuck, I'm like, I heard that. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I don't know. There's certain phrases or like maybe how people flow a sentence. Maybe my brain just picks up what that sentence is supposed to say.
Yeah.
It's the
And then-
country version, the accent is the country version of it, isn't it? Whereas it's like, I feel like people from the cities just
Yes.
have that different kind
Yeah.
of expression and the way that they talk, whereas it seems like the country version of, you know, England and here, it all has that same like slur almost.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it's also got I've always found that it has what do you call it, staccato? What's the cadence is halting.
Yeah.
You know, there's the Spartans, there was a group somewhere near them called the loquacians or whatever, and that's where the word, it's something low something. That's where the word loquacious comes from, but it actually is kind of a misnomer because they were very, very economic with their words. I messed all that up as far as history goes.
You just
But
wanted short and sweet. Is that what you're saying?
My point is that they use very few words, but they get their point across, and it's typically hidden behind, as you said, that slur.
Yeah.
But I think I was going to ask here, I think people can see someone who speaks that way, or someone who just speaks country, has a Southern twang, and they immediately question like their intelligence level.
Right.
And I think that's a huge mistake because a lot of folks who are very, very smart just aren't very talkative that way.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing with you guys? Like, do they tend to be judged as not as smart? But
Well, personally,
Sometimes.
yeah, my side of things, I would say, like, if you see someone from like Somerset, which is obviously an area near, then typically you'd be like, oh, they're from Somerset. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, for us, it's controversial. It's like if they're from Wales, it's
posh.
Well, no,
No,
it's like their
not
sheep are the best
posh.
friends.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Oh,
like,
really?
As a English person, would be like, oh yeah, Welsh and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
That whole thing.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
like you were saying about their intellect, is when I first met Beth, I still feel like I had more of my, like, say Southern twang to it. Whereas when you write out a sentence, when I say it, I mix words around. So to me, I've said a sentence, makes total sense, and Beth's like, I don't get what you're trying to say to me, and I'd be like, I don't know. Like she said, oh, we're going to go watch the Dallas Cowboys. I go, oh, cool. Where's that to? And she'd just be like, I don't what?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Where's it to? We're gonna go there. Like,
Yeah,
to?
I can see that.
You just
It's
added a
Yeah, it's just where's
word
that?
on.
Yeah.
Like, where are we going? Where's that? So I never picked that up. So it's back home to me and my friends, where's that to, and stuff like that. Like, you know, that makes sense. And it's only until Beth started like calling it out and being like, why'd you just say to at the end of everything? And I was like, oh, I guess that's part of maybe an area thing where that's the vocabulary that you're raised on, so that's how you say it. Whereas we're like fascinated now, having well, as a guy on Instagram that does it, but we've realised that in the way we form sentences now, we just ram everything together. So to an English person, it makes pure sense, but we've actually just said a random letter word, which is actually a sentence. So like, like say you were saying, oh, I've got to go to work early. Oh, do you have to? Like,
Yeah.
do you have to? Right.
Right.
So if you said, oh yeah, I've got to go to work early tomorrow. Oh, Jafta.
Yeah.
Jafta.
Jafta.
But to us, it's Jafta.
Jafta.
Like Jafta. So then to me, I've heard, do you have to?
Right.
Oh,
Right.
do you have to do that?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just stuff like that. And
And
there's
it's
a
the
guy that does it.
remember one, isn't it? That
Oh yeah,
we've-
do you remember? What do you reckon that would be? Do you remember?
Drummer. I don't
Yeah,
know.
close. Yeah.
Close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Do you remember?
Do you remember?
Oh, do you remember?
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's
you've just used half of remember and
Do you
then,
remember?
yeah, then you've just combined the other
hey,
words
it
together.
gets the point across.
Yeah. So that's what
Actu-
you're saying. It's shortening people's sentences.
It reminds me of Jeff Foxworthy. Do you know who that is?
No.
He's an American comedian who used to make fun of like one of his big claims to fame was you might be a redneck if, right? That was his line. He'd have a whole series of those. But he also did this thing where he would talk about like how rednecks would do that with words, right? So like for instance, sensuous. Since she was in the kitchen.
Right. Since she was.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's exactly it. So
Exactly
it
that.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
That's
Well,
awesome.
listen, we went over. You guys are so easy to talk to. We could probably do 3-4 hours, but we're going to respect your time.
Yes.
I know you got a lot more of America to see,
Or
right?
at least Texas.
They all shot some guns now. What else you got to do?
Got my truck, shot my gun.
Truck, guns.
Hell
Got
yeah,
you.
brother.
Love it.
Well, if you don't mind, tell folks where if they wanted to find out more about you guys, where they could find out information on you, where they could follow you on your social media, etc.
Sure. Well, my main social is Biker Bethany on Instagram, and yours is.
Josh Fox, but you'll probably find it through Beth's because people would spell it wrong. So it's FOXXS. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us on, guys. It's
No, we
fun,
really
as
enjoyed it.
always.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
so glad we got to do this finally.
Yeah.
It's
And
good
in
to get
person.
Yeah, it's in person.
know.
I know I mean, it's a little sad ending it because it's like when we're gonna have a chance to do this again. You know?
Oh, we'll be back.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask.
I'll
you,
be back.
are you moving? You gonna immigrate? You coming?
Well, I say as far as what I've seen so far in Texas, I like it. I wouldn't, I mean, we saw a lot of Frisco, and according to Trey, that's not Dallas. So,
Yeah, that's what I've been told too.
so we did a little trip down,
Yeah.
and we've seen a bit of it. But again, we're not city people, so
Okay.
if we're gonna move somewhere, it needs to have a little bit of like that country feel. So.
Probably want to wait to see the results of this election too. See what's going on there.
But apparently, it's from what we've seen, it's pretty hard for us to actually like properly move here
Yeah.
and get all that sorted. It's not easy.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. I think we have I think although it is easier to move here than it is some other places, but yeah, it's expensive and it's 7 years.
It's a long process.
Now I think that it is somewhat merit based. Like if you're able to go in and prove that you have something to offer, I think they can sometimes expedite it. But if you're just moving here and you're going to figure it out once you get here, I don't know if that takes a while.
I wonder if they'd let us buy a place here as like a holiday home, because we're allowed here for 90 days,
Yeah.
and then we have to
Yeah.
leave. But then there's never any solid. You have to go for a month. You have to go for 2 months. You can go for a week. It's just
Oh, so
however
you can
long
like
you
break
leave
it down.
Well, yeah,
break it
but
up.
they say like you can do 90 days and then you have to leave, but it doesn't say how long you have to leave for.
Okay.
So you have to leave long enough to prove that you're not trying to live here. So it says you can go for a week and come back, but then immigration might be a little bit like that's not long enough and be a bit more hard on you. Whereas
Yeah.
we obviously this time we've left it a year, but we're coming back in September to watch the 1FC in Denver. So that's
Okay.
2
Oh, nice.
months. So
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
should be enough for them to be like,
Yeah. You're allowed.
you're not
back
trying to
in."
live here.
Yeah.
All right.
pretty much, yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Safe
you, guys.
travels home, all that good stuff.
Yep.
Z, take us out.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching this show. It was great to have Beth and Josh on. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment on this video, and follow us on Instagram, Chuck and Z.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Shiny side up.
Deuce.